Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to do something that I actually promised to do in the Monster Blood is Back review. And that is, I promised to give you guys a pitch of what a good Monster Blood sequel would have been. And this isn't something that I think is 100% amazing or anything. It's just something that I thought up, and I thought that, like, you know what? It's better than what I just spent 2.5 hours reading today, or whatever, how long the time. Which I will say that the only reason why I didn't totally rant and rave against this book is because I listened to John B. Read the book, and so that kind of helped it, because he always makes the books a little bit better, and so it wasn't totally a miserable experience, whereas Safi had to listen to this very annoying woman, and she made the voices sound like little children, like 3-year-old kids, with the way that they sounded. Like, it was very bad. So anyways, my Monster Blood sequel, when I thought a Monster Blood sequel, what that would be like, I thought, why wouldn't you want to have Evan and Andy as adults? Even if you weren't, like, focusing on them as the main characters, making them the protagonists, because they're adults, wouldn't you want to show them at least, because they're, like, the main characters of the series? So you could at least put a little, what do you call it? Like a bookmark, or like an ending mark, or no, a period. You put a period on that at the end, that, like, now Evan and Andy are grown up, they got married. Well, in my story, I would want them to be a part of the story. I was thinking kind of like a Back to the Future type of story. So you have Evan and Andy. They are now married with children. You think that this is going to be just like all the other books. It's going to be where, they have a shitty life at school. Maybe they have a shitty life at home too. And then they get Monster Blood at the store. And then the Monster Blood gets loose somehow. And then they have to put it all back. They have to close the Pandora's box after they open it. Well, not in my version of the story. In my sequel, I would want it to be like, because I'm kind of pitching this somewhat on the spot. I'm going to come up with something. So these kids, the kids of Evan and Andy, they're not the most likable kids, but they're normal kids. They're kids that, they could be protagonists of a Goosebumps book. But the key thing is that they have an okay life at school. They have a pretty good life, except for one thing. And that thing is this bully named Richie. And this bully, he is probably the worst bully in the world. And then we see the kids go home to Evan and Andy. We get to see how sweet it is that Evan and Andy have grown up. They haven't told their kids about the Monster Blood adventures yet. They will have to, though. And it's like a really sweet thing, and they're like, don't worry about that bully at school. Bullies always go away sooner or later, or, maybe you have to confront them. I don't know. Just the typical parent-to-child talk that you give a child. I don't know. It depends on the situation, because I dealt with bullies in a very particular way at certain points. I'll just say, like, I had this bully in first grade named Taylor, and she was a bully to me on the bus, along with this kid named Josh. And so, you know what I did? I just had my mom call the bus company, or call the school, and complained after the things that they were doing to me. And then they got kicked off the bus forever. So I never dealt with them again. They got fucked up for life, because I said, I'm not putting up with that, or I'll quit school. But the kids, you think the story is going to go the certain way. You think it's going to be like all those other normal Monster Blood books, but then something happens. They're taking a test, and in the middle of the test, all of a sudden, you see this green goo somewhere in the classroom, and then you see it on a test on the teacher's desk, and the goo swallows up the test while the teacher isn't looking. The goo crawls over to the bully, unbeknownst to all the other kids in class. But the kids of Evan and Andy see him, and they're really freaked out. They're like, what the hell's going on here? And the bully picks up this little blob, this little green blob, and he takes out the test because the blob kind of gives it to him. And then he uses that to pass the test. And they see that, they witness that, they try to tell the teacher does not believe them, and then the bully finds out that they know, and that they told on him. And that is when shit gets real. The bully confronts them on their way home, walking home from school. This is a very rare instance where their parents are not able to pick them up for whatever reason. So it is a day where they have to walk home, which is pretty sad. I don't think a lot of kids walk home or walk to school anymore. Sometimes I see them, but not a lot of the times. But I think that was much more common back in the day. And now, obviously, it's for safety reasons, you probably don't want a child walking alone to their house, unless they have a safety patrolman with them, like in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But anyways, they're walking home. Richie confronts them, and he says, I know that you know. And he takes out the monster blob, and the monster blob attacks and eats Andy and Evan's children. And then he takes the blob home with him. And it's kind of interesting because this monster blood is not growing yet. For some reason, it's able to consume all these things and it's not growing. So this must be a very particular type of monster blood. It's not just a regular kind. It's a very specific kind that is able to eat and eat and eat without even growing. And by the way, this book would be called My Pet Monster Blood. Monster Blood 5. My Pet Monster Blood. And so Richie, he is using this monster blood. He basically becomes the main character now. He is using this monster blood to get anything he wants. He's talking to it somehow. It's really, really strange and cool and kind of fun. But Evan and Andy are really concerned, where are their children? So they call the police, they go through all that process, and they find out there's nowhere, there's no witnesses of anything. No one knows what happened to Evan and Andy's children, except for Richie. So now, guess what happens? We are going to get into a big, epic adventure here. Evan and Andy are just, they're searching around, they're crying, they're sad all the time, they have to hug and kiss, probably have sympathy sex and stuff. They don't do that on camera, they do that off camera, but they're really, really sad. They're kind of out of the picture now. Richie is the main character, but Richie, all of a sudden, even though this monster blood is not able to consume and get bigger and bigger and bigger, this type of monster blood consumes and somehow is able to make children. So this monster blood is starting to shit out millions of monster blood children like the gremlins. And they're all the same size, so they're kind of like the size of the palm of your hand. And so this monster blood, he is creating a monster blood army And this is where it kind of turns into Gremlins. The Monster Blood army starts taking over the town by force. Richie, he doesn't know what to do. It's really out of his control. He is not even able to reason with this Monster Blood. The kids are still inside the Monster Blood, eaten up alive. And it's really turning into Monster Blood Gremlins. They're taking over everything. They're eating everything in sight. It is like the Blob That Ate Everyone book all over again. But then, all the Monster Bloods go into a store. They don't just go into any store. They go into a weird store. And this is the store. It's like a thrift store. And they have Monster Blood. And the reason why they have Monster Blood in this thrift store is because they probably thought it was some sort of a toy or something. They didn't know that it was like this heavily dangerous weapon, this monster thing. They thought it was something fun, like a goo that you could play with. Well, these Monster Bloods break into this store and they release the OG Monster Blood. The OG Monster Blood, it literally just walks down the street, walks around the corner, and it's like, hi there. And it just, and it swallows up a whole entire busload of children. That was some good delivery. And then it just goes around. And this Monster Blood, this is the OG Monster Blood. It is growing and growing and growing. It is swallowing up this town. It is eating all the Monster Bloods that let him loose so that he can be more powerful. The only Monster Blood that escaped was the main one, obviously, because then if he didn't escape, then Evan... Oh, okay, actually, no, he doesn't eat the little Monster Bloods. That would be stupid, because, they let him loose. That's dumb. Sorry about that. See, pitches are not perfect. I'm obviously always correcting myself. Editing my work. And the OG Monster Blood, it is literally like creating a Jello mold of this town. So it's kind of like Under the Dome, except instead of under the dome, it's under the Monster Blood. And the Monster Blood has encapsulated this entire town and its area, its surroundings. It's taken over everything. Everyone in the entire town is stuck in the Monster Blood. It is like Godzilla, but Monster Blood. And that is when the army comes into the picture. The army tries to come in, bring in some tanks, bring in some military vehicles. Pew, pew. And guess what? It's not only helping the Monster Blood is able to swallow these missiles and send them right back at the military vehicles, and boom, boom, boom. And then the Monster Blood is picking up those tanks and eating them, picking up the crashed helicopters and eating those too. And the Monster Blood is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Evan and Andy, they see what's going on. They have to save the day. They find Richie along the way. Richie confesses to them what happened, and Richie goes along with the parents. The bully goes along with the parents to solve this issue. They go into town. They think, what can we do? The Monster Blood is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Pretty soon, it is going to be taking over the entire country. The entire country is going to be swallowed by Monster Blood. It is a serious, deathly situation. It is dark. It is scary. The little Monster Bloods, they are just like, yeah. They're kind of like cheerleaders on the sideline. They're eating a lot of stuff too. They're going to fucking restaurants where no one likes these restaurants, like Skyline Chili. They're going to Skyline Chili and eating all the food that nobody else wants to eat. And so then, this is the part where things can kind of you could kind of say it's a little over the top, even though this has been very over the top. Evan and I am not on drugs, by the way. I'm just excited because it's fun to do this type of thing. Evan and Andy, they go to the airport because the monster blood is growing so rapidly and so hugely that it's almost going to eat the airport. So they have to get in this plane. They basically have to hijack a plane with the pilot in there, and they have to... Okay, actually, no. No, that wouldn't work because that would be too dangerous. No. It'd be too unbelievable. Okay, so they get to the airport. The monster blood is on the way. Conveniently, Evan and Andy... Wait, no, they'd have to take the kid along, too. No, we're not going to put the kid in the suitcase. Okay, no, they're going to have to hijack the plane because the only way that I thought you could explain is that maybe at the beginning of the story you could mention that Evan and Andy and their kids... Okay, well, actually... Okay, I could figure out a way that would kind of be a plot hole, but, whatever. Evan and Andy... No, wait, no, they would have to forcefully get on the plane because if the people at the airport saw that the monster blood was coming, they would not let people take off. Okay, so Evan, Andy, and Richie, they've got to get on a plane because they want to go to Europe to find the creator of Monster Blood. They want to find the person who created Monster Blood, find out what Monster Blood is, and how to destroy it and how to stop this. Obviously, they can't just there's nothing for them to do. I mean, the monster blood is so out of control at this point. It's gonna destroy the world. So they hijack on this plane like it's 9/11 all over again, except in this instance, it's actually for a good reason. It's to destroy monster blood. It's not to hurt innocent people. And they get this pilot, this very young pilot, to help them. He flies them to Europe, and they're like, okay, what do we do now? And at that point, by the way, when they're taking off, the monster blood is expanding so rapidly that the monster blood almost swallows the plane as it gets off the runway. So we're going to have a very intense, thrilling, suspenseful sequence where the pilot is like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get off this runway. And he's getting off the runway. The monster blood is expanding and expanding, and it's just about to swallow him. And it gets the back of his plane in the monster blood, and then boom, the plane is able to escape. It gets away from the monster blood, and they are safe. Richie explains to Evan and Andy that he is really sorry for all the trouble that he has caused. And instead of saying that that's okay because you're just a kid, Evan and Andy just say that they'll talk about it later. And so I think that could be kind of like a funny running joke, is that, like, whenever Richie says, like, sorry for all the shit that I've caused, Evan and Andy could just be like, we'll talk about it later. And then maybe they never talk about it. Maybe they just say they're going to talk about it later, and so because they've got more pressing things to attend to. And so they go to Europe. They don't know what to do. They're like, okay, Monster Blood. Where do we find the creator of Monster Blood? This is where we have a crossover with with another series that I've already pitched and talked about. Because the monster blood, it is expanding so badly that it is almost going to destroy Europe at this point. It is getting very close and intense. It is just guzzling. It is eating the world. It is really, really scary as shit. Because the monster blood, it is literally going to be able to eat the world, and then the world will die. The earth will die. There'll be nothing left except monster blood in space. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, God, we gotta do Monster Blood in Space next one. Monster Blood 6 is gonna be Monster Blood in Space. Okay, so anyways, they are able to find the cuckoo clock. You know why? Because there is another cuckoo clock, conveniently, They're able to find that somehow. And they decide, you know what we need to do is travel back in time and figure out how this happened in the first place and just destroy the monster bloods back then. So they have to go back in time. Richie, Evan, and Andy, they go back in time. They have to avoid Richie and Richie's parents, find the monster blood in his home, destroy it, and then go to the thrift store and destroy that monster blood too to make sure that this never happens. Well, this is where things take a twist for the worse. Because they were never able to find the creator of Monster Blood. Well, the big twist is that Richie is actually the son of Conan the Barbarian, the bully from the original 4 books. Not only that, but the reason why Conan had a particular type of monster blood that they'd never seen before, it's not because of the military or anything stupid like that. It's because Conan's father, Conan, he is the father of Richie, but he is also the grandson of the original creator of Monster Blood, conveniently. So they have their own types of monster blood, and we see in the attic. Conan. Could Conan be the creator? No, Conan's father. So Conan is the son of the creator of Monster Blood. Or no, maybe he could just be grandson. Yeah. But he is related to the creator of Monster Blood. So they have their own Monster Blood collection in the attic. They have all sorts of different colors. There's red, purple, pink, yellow, blue, black, white, brown, all these different types of monster bloods that can basically be used for anything. Like, they have all these specific powers and all these specific, like, things about them. Like, maybe one type of monster blood, you are able to eat it and get superpowers or something, something like crazy like that. Another monster blood, maybe it's good at doing something else, I don't know. But that's when they're like, oh shit, we actually have to go back in time further than this, because even though we've destroyed the monster blood here, because they find a way, they destroy all these different colors of monster blood. They destroy Richie's monster blood. They destroy the monster blood at the thrift store. But they figure out, maybe we should go back to the original time period where monster blood was created, and we should try to destroy that too. They go back to the medieval times, even back before the medieval times. And they go to Europe, because obviously at that point, they weren't, there wasn't any America yet to be there or anything. It was just, I don't even know what it was called, but it wasn't America yet, so they go to Europe. This is back in the whatever hundreds, and they find Conan's ancestor, and that is where I did not think of what would happen next. Okay, so I don't know. But maybe I won't give you that part of the pitch. Maybe I should just give you everything that leads up to it, and that's it. And I should just have it be a cliffhanger, because why not? But, let me know if this sounded pretty good so far, or if it sounded good at all. I just felt like this would have been a lot better than what we got in the stupid Chop Jr. Monster Blood book that we just read today. That was kind of like a big letdown. So anyways, please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of the pitch. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more fun videos like this, because I'll go nuts. I'll go crazy. I don't care. Monster blood shitting out other monster bloods. Monster blood taking over the world. I'll do it. I'll do anything. And by the way, there would be a perfect cameo for R.L. Stine. You could have a cameo where it is actually R.L. Stine cameoing as himself, and he's in his like New York apartment or wherever he lives, and he's filming like a masterclass thing, and then the monster blood eats him and it destroys the whole apartment, and he's like, oh no, I created you, or something like that. And then, that wouldn't make sense, but, still, something where, the monster blood's taking over the world, and it just swallows up Earl Stein and wherever he lives, and, because it's going to eat everything, So, yeah, anyways, goodbye, everybody. See you soon for the Valentine's Day review.